Okay.
You know, we always talked about it, but no, I didn't. And
we're talking about it is somewhat planning, but you just got to be a little more specific with the plan. But yeah, if you talked about it, you did.
Yeah.
You're smart, and you say, hey, when you graduate.
Well, good afternoon to you, East Texas. We're breaking into regular scheduling programming to show you that we do have a tornado warning that does include portions of San Augustine, Sabine, and Shelby counties here. And this continues to track off to the northeast at about 35 miles per hour. So again, we're keeping a very close eye on this. And you can see the city of San Augustine is not actually included in this tornado polygon, but areas to the east of San Augustine are. And in Sabine County, this does not include the city of Hemphill, and it doesn't really include either the central or southeastern part of the county. And this is continuing to move off to the north and to the northeast at about 35 miles per hour. And as you can see, the tornado warning, it runs until about 3:30. That is 3:30, correct, Andrew? For this warning here?
Yes.
Okay, so this warning runs until about 3:30, and as we look at the immediate polygon here, in the polygon, that's kind of the cone of uncertainty, if you will, on where the possible tornado could go. And again, it's not a confirmed tornado, but there is enough indication on the radar that we are seeing the need for a tornado warning. This will include Chumley, Alexander's Store, looks like Geneva there, and Brunson there as well. And Cole, when you get a minute, could you turn on that TV right there, just so I can see a little better? But again, we'll put a storm track on this here real quick, and as we track this off to the north and to the east, anywhere from about 30 to 35 miles per hour, we'll track the storm, and you can see the arrival times. There's not a lot of cities there on the screen, but you know, pretty much within that cone, we will see that possible tornado move through the area. So what we're going to do right now is we're going to put more cities on the screen, and as you can see, this will include a lot of smaller communities. But again, people live in those communities, so we do really need to warn for these communities right here. And then as we look at this, you can see Ford's Corner, that's familiar, 255, Sunrise at 258, 259 in Chumley. Black Ankle, it looks like, 3 o'clock for Geneva, and then as we move into White Rock there at about 3:04. So if you are one of those cities or unincorporated communities on this list here, I want you seeking shelter. The best thing to do is to get into an interior room. If you have a basement, I mean, that's pretty lucky if you have a basement here in East Texas, because the water table does not, it's rough to build basements, you know, when you have that high water table that we have here in East Texas. So again, it's the interior room, could be a pantry, it could be a closet. Just make sure you have a few exterior or interior walls between you and the outside world. No windows in this situation. But again, this is the tornado warning that continues to move off to the north and to the northeast. So let me go ahead and show you the radar presentation, and it's very messy. So if you're in this area and you're trying to see the tornado, you are not going to be successful with this storm here. It's just not going to happen. As we put this in motion, we continue to see the showers and thunderstorms, and this is what we like to call a rain-wrapped storm, which means if there's any rotation or there's a tornado, you're likely not to see it because there's just too much rain ongoing in the area right now. But there are your showers and thunderstorms. You can see for parts of San Augustine County. There's also more activity right behind it. So once we get the all clears for areas in eastern San Augustine County, I still don't recommend going outside, obviously, because we got a lot of rain right behind this storm moving over the lake right now. And what we're going to see here is the training of thunderstorms, which could increase the flash flooding threat for us. But again, This area right in here, we continue to see those showers and thunderstorms, and we'll continue to see them here over the next few minutes. Let's go down to Street View, and I can let you know what streets are impacted by this rotation. And if we zoom real close in, we'll go ahead and flip on the storm relative velocity. First and foremost, here's the most dangerous part of the storm. It's where those reds are coming together with the greens. And the good news is, I don't think this is looking quite as wrapped as it was about 5 minutes ago, but it's this area right in here. That's the area of concern. That's the unincorporated community of Rebecca there in San Augustine County, and this is in the process of crossing over US Highway 96 right there. There's County Road 4305, County Road 4300, and there's US Highway 96. So you might be familiar with US Highway 96, and if you know anybody within that area, you're going to want to give them a call right now, because this is a dangerous storm. It's not a confirmed tornado, but a tornado could form with these storms at any time. And that's certainly a possibility today, just given how unstable the atmosphere is and given how much wind shear that we have and how much moisture is available for this storm to form. But again, Ford's Corner, that's familiar to a lot of people, and just to the east of San Augustine there, and this is moving in the direction of Ford's Corner right there. We also have a little bit of lightning out ahead of this rotation, so you're probably going to see some very heavy rain. You're probably going to see some lightning prior to the most dangerous part of this storm arriving in your location. But again, Alexander's Store, it looks like Black Angle's right there, Ford's Corner's right there, Geneva's right there, Sexton's right there, and then East Hamilton there, and parts of, it looks like, let me zoom out just to make sure my bearings are correct on this. Yep, right on the Shelby, Sabine County line. So those areas we're watching very closely. But again, it does look like this rotation couplet is not quite as intense as it was about 5 minutes ago, which is certainly some good news. I'm going to put another storm track on this just to show you some of the arrival times. And as we move off to the north and to the east at about 35 miles per hour, we'll put more locations on the map here. And once again, the good news with this storm is it's affecting mostly unpopulated areas, so we'll take that for what it's worth. But if you know anybody within this cone or within that red polygon, I do want you to give them a call just to make sure they're okay and to make sure that they are seeking shelter immediately. So there are your locations and times of arrival. So I've got 2:45 on the clock right now. You can see Rosevine 2:51. That is 6 minutes from now. Ford's Corner, that's about 2:54. Chumley's at about 2:58. Black Ankle's at 2:59. White Rock 3:03. That's about 18 minutes from right now. And then Lanetown about 3:07. So any of these locations within this polygon here, I want you seeking shelter because a tornado could form at any time. And as we do analysis on this storm, I'm just not seeing the rotation that we were seeing not too long ago. So that's some good news. There's the rotation. It just passed over US Highway 96 there, which is some good news. So we'll certainly take that for what it's worth, and you know, hopefully that continues to be the trend, because the atmosphere is certainly forgiving for these storms today as we continue to see that instability increase. But regardless, there's State Highway 103. It's just crossing the intersection of State Highway 103 and US Highway 96. It's just to the east of Rebecca and moving in the direction of Ford's Corner. But here's the reflectivity on it, and as you can see, a lot of heavy rain within this storm right here. And folks, this is really delivering a punch to San Augustine and Sabine County, which, if you remember I think it was last Thursday, Sabine County saw tons of rainfall, and that continues to be the case. And unfortunately, it looks like we are in for perhaps several more inches of rain today. So we're definitely seeing the rainfall tick upward, and this is very heavy rain. If we just look at our rainfall rates, these are just downright impressive. And anywhere in the red, that is torrential rain. You do not want to be out there anyway, tornado or not. And unfortunately, this will be the case here over the next few minutes to perhaps an hour or two with the training of thunderstorms that is occurring. So here is the rainfall rate, and we'll query this out for you. And you can see Ford's Corner. Look at that, folks, 6.8 inches an hour right there near Ford's Corner. So you've got the threat of flash flooding. You've got the threat of a tornado. This is definitely a severe thunderstorm, so I want you seeking shelter. If you're inside or if you're outside for whatever reason, get inside, get in your safe spot immediately, because this continues to be a very dangerous storm, and unfortunately this is showing no signs of letting up from a rainfall standpoint, and it will continue to show these signs of strength, these signs of very heavy rainfall. Andrew, if you could on the chat computer, if you could connect and disconnect there. We seem to be having trouble with the hand tracker, you know, just being able to move it on screen. But again, very heavy rainfall with this storm. We're also seeing the possibility of a tornado within that rotation, and unfortunately this will continue to be the case at least for the next few minutes. But again, as this moves into St. Augustine and Shelby and Sabine counties here over the next 30 minutes or so, we could see the National Weather Service drop this warning, but we'll just have to see in future scans if that rotation is strengthening, if that rotation is weakening. It just all depends on the evolution of this storm. So we continue to see this form. And Andrew, if you could just drive the radar and disconnect this, we seem to be having issues still. But once again, there's your storm producing very heavy rainfall. This is the rainfall rate. The radar is measuring how much rain, or the rate of rain that occurs over the duration of 1 hour. That's inches per hour. And I've got 6.8 within that pink. You can see very close to the St. Augustine, Sabine County line, still about 5.5 inches of rainfall, about 4.9 inches just to the west of Alexander's Store there. So regardless if we're seeing a tornado or not, this is still a very dangerous storm that can produce flash flooding like that because of the training of thunderstorms. And Andrew, if we could go back to where that rotation is real quick, I want to show people the main area of concern. So what I see within this storm right now is not a lot of rotation. And what we're looking for here is where those reds are touching those greens. So it's this area just to the south of Ford's Corner, probably right on Ford's Corner right now. That's the area of concern. You've got those reds meeting those greens. Of course, the reds, we often talk about that those are winds moving away from the Shreveport radar site. Those greens are winds moving towards the Shreveport radar site. So you got winds going in opposite directions, and that would be an indication of a little bit of rotation. Well, usually you want it to be a little brighter than this, and you want them to be showing signs of just touching each other, and the fact that, you know, we do see that gate-to-gate rotation there. And it's not all that strong as it is. I mean, that gate-to-gate shear, as we like to call it, with how strong the winds are moving away from the radar and how strong those winds going towards the radar are, that's under 60 miles per hour, which is still strong. I mean, that is a rough storm to be in, but not the most intense circulation that we have seen so far. Let's go ahead and put a storm track on this storm real quick. And again, this is moving in the direction of St. Augustine and southeastern Shelby County. Alexander's Store is right there. There's Huxley. And as we track this storm off, this will be exiting our immediate viewing area here within the not too distant future. And as we put more cities on this map, there's just not a lot of big population centers in this area, but again, we treat everybody equally with respect here. So if you know anybody in these corners of St. Augustine, Sabine, Shelby counties, make sure you're giving them a call, because this is a very intense storm, tornado or not, that is moving in their direction. And as we look at some of these arrival times right here, you can see Hawthorne 3:08, 3:10 at Alexander's Store, and then Chumbley's at 2:56, 2:58 in Black Ankle, 2:59 in Geneva. White Rock is at about 3:02. It's 2:52 now, so Ford's Corner, it's right on top of you, and you can see all these cities, the arrival time for you guys is within the next 10 to 15 minutes. So I want you in shelter until we give you the all clear from this storm. Now I will say St. Augustine and St. Augustine County, St. Augustine, the city here, is not within this tornado warning. I know you've got a tornado warning out for Sabine County, and we do have viewers in Hemphill. We've gotten messages from them before. You guys are not in this warning if you live in or just outside of Hemphill. So some good news there. And then even in Shelby County, Center, the community of Center, is not within this tornado warning at all. So this is really just threading the needle between the 3 county seats here. And that will continue to push off to the north and to the northeast. But still, lots of rain for these areas. We continue to see fairly intense rainfall with the possibility of that tornado that can form at any time. So it's near Ford's Corner right now, and you look at this shear rate. That's the rotation detector we like to use, and here we go. We are in the green, so that means it's still showing a little bit of rotation, but the rotation's fairly weak. I do become more concerned when we see these indicators in the red or the yellow. That's when the rotation is fairly intense, but we just have not seen that. And as we look over the last, we'll call it about an hour or so, you can see it ramped up real quick. That's why Shreveport went with that warning, but it's starting to weaken as it gets closer to the tri-point between St. Augustine, Sabine, and Shelby counties here, and that will continue to push off to the north and to the northeast. Andrew, if we could put a measuring stick on this and just see how close it is to the Louisiana border and the north point of the Toledo Bend Reservoir, that will give us a good indication. So this storm, if it continues on its track here, we're about 21, 22 miles away from this exiting our immediate viewing area into parts of Louisiana. So if it's moving at 35 miles per hour, you do quick and easy math there. It's out of here in less than an hour, and we can get you back to your regular programming if the storm were to hold together. Now, it's certainly possible that Shreveport could drop this warning just like that, just based on what we're seeing here, because that is very weak rotation, if you will, over the Ford's Corner area. But again, it's still a powerful storm. If we look at that reflectivity, this is a fairly intense storm. I mean, just look at this, folks. Look how heavy that rain is. Now, it's probably not producing large hail, so all this you see on the reflectivity, that is very heavy rainfall, and that could create a flash flooding problem, because if we put the 24-hour rain amounts, you can see we haven't been seeing a lot of rain. Well, we didn't see a lot of rain this morning, but over the last couple of hours, of course, we've seen a lot of rain. But, I mean, that's a quick 3/4 of an inch. That can cause ponding. That could be dangerous when you are driving. So these rainfall totals will continue to increase just based on, you know, how much water is falling out of this storm right now. And you can see right on the Sabine, St. Augustine County line, I believe right there, we continue to see those rainfall totals tick up to over an inch of rain. And again, folks, very heavy rain, possibility of a tornado, definitely a severe thunderstorm warning that continues to move off to the north and to the northeast. So there's your storm right there. Andrew, if you could put the velocity on there real quick, we might be able to give St. Augustine County an all clear here. We'll zoom in right there to Ford's Corner, and yeah, I mean, it's really not looking all that strong, so I doubt very seriously if this is producing a tornado. But, you know, places like White Rock, State Highway 21 west to the west of County Road 141 there, we're going to be in the clear from the danger of a tornado, but we still have that heavy rain that is expected to fall here over the next hour or two. As we look at the debris detector, I'm really not seeing any sort of correlation coefficient drop here, which would mean we would see a lot of these green and yellow colors. We're just not seeing that. And if we did see that drop, those greens, blues, and that kind of thing, we would likely have a tornado on the ground doing damage. That's not the case right now, so that's some good good news. As we look at the severe threat, we could have a little bit of hail along Farm to Market Road, 34, 48, but it's under a ½ inch, so if we're seeing any type of hail, it's likely dime to pea size, which is not severe in nature. But again, heavy rain, the possibility of a little bit of hail, that's nothing you want to be out in. So the rotation, if it were to be warranted here, the most dangerous part of this storm would be near Chumley, Black Ankle, probably just to the east of that right there. So Andrew's doing a great job of circling that. It's literally right on the St. Augustine-Sabine County line. Again, not as tight of a couplet as it was, and certainly nothing, that I'm super concerned with. But again, you never want to mess around with these tornado warnings, because with the environment that we have today, these storms can spin up real quickly, because we're kind of running into a very prime environment. The air is very unstable. We've got a lot of shear, the wind shear, or the directional change with those winds as you go up in height in the atmosphere. So nothing super concerning with this storm as of right now, but 10 minutes from now, 15 minutes from now, we could see this spin up, and this would be a threat for Alexander's store. So just based on what I'm seeing right now, Ford's Quarter, you guys are in the clear. Most of western St. Augustine County that was under this tornado warning a little earlier, you guys are in the clear now as well. Hemphill, of course, y'all are in the clear, but I'm still a little concerned for Sexton up to Alexander's store. Looks like Patrone there, but we'll still see gusty winds, but the possibility of the tornado continues to decrease at this time. Now, it could increase a little later on today, but it doesn't look like it appears to be a major threat with this storm, but we'll keep on monitoring as this moves off to the north and to the northeast. So very heavy rainfall in here, and if we could do a quick radar reset. I know a lot of people are watching us from Tyler and Longview. We really focused in on this storm because this is the one tornado warning we have in our area right now. Look at this. We're not seeing a lot of activity, from Longview to Tyler pointing off to the west. We had a little bit of convection, a little bit of thunderstorm activity earlier today, but that doesn't seem to be the case right now. But again, these storms are still worth tracking for places like Marion and Cass County, but not a lot of signs of rotation, and these will be moving into a more primed environment for severe weather here within the next 30 minutes or so. But again, northwestern Louisiana, Arkansas, under those similar risks for severe weather. But one thing I will be watching for places like Tyler, Longview, and pointing off to the south and slightly to the southeast is it's 3 o'clock, folks, so we could see the atmosphere recharge for the next hour and an hour and a half, meaning the temperatures might warm up a little bit because there are some indications of sunshine out to our west, and that would increase the instability, thereby increasing the storm threat. So again, one tornado warning in the area. That is St. Augustine, that is Sabine, that is parts of Shelby County. We'll continue to monitor those storms. We'll eventually be able to give you guys the all clear from this specific storm here within the next 10 to 15 minutes, and we'll get you back to your regular programming. But again, central western counties not dealing with a lot right now, but that could change with the sunshine that we are seeing in our western and central counties, and the fact that those temperatures may go up a few degrees. That could certainly increase the instability. Andrew?
Yeah, Carson, like you just mentioned there, this is not the only activity that we will be tracking through the rest of today. We may see new development later on this afternoon, like Carson was mentioning, because we are, like he said, seeing the sunshine out in our northwestern areas. Storm Prediction Center highlighting Hopkins County to points north for a potential tornado watch later on today. That would probably go even later than the current one already in place. But in the short term, the Storm Prediction Center is watching our counties right along the Louisiana state state line for the greatest tornado potential over these next few hours. So these storms will have to watch very closely. We still have that tornado warning, which includes portions of Sabine and Shelby counties. At this point, San Augustine County, you're still in the polygon, but I do think the storm is now off to your east. So I think you should be good there to get out of your tornado safe place if you're in San Augustine. It's still noisy out there with that heavy rain and lightning and also potential for some small hail. But really, it's northern Sabine County and southern Shelby County that still need to be in their tornado safe place. But we have additional activity also in northern portions of our area. So I'll go ahead and pause the radar here and we'll zoom into a couple of more spots. We are seeing additional supercell-looking storms here in parts of Harrison County near the Hallsville area, heading towards Marshall. A lot of lightning with this. This is riding right along Interstate 20. If you know somebody that's maybe traveling from Shreveport to Marshall or Hallsville, or even as far east as west as Longview, let them know that they will be having to drive through some heavy rain and maybe the potential for some stronger thunderstorms right now. But as ominous as this activity looks right now on radar, we'll go ahead and take a look at velocity, the wind within the storm here, and we're just not seeing any signs of rotation within this activity at this moment for these northernmost storms right now. So if you are in Marshall, I think the severe weather threat and the tornado threat right now is pretty low at this point with these storms that are moving in, but we'll certainly continue to keep an eye on it because at any point these storms can spin up very quickly here. That's just the kind of environment that we are in. These storms can strengthen very quickly over these next few hours, so that is something that we will be certainly watching for. But again, as strong as these storms look on radar, they do not have any rotation at this time, which is certainly good news. So we'll go back down to Sabine County and focus in on this storm, which does have the tightest rotation at this point in time here. We'll go ahead and take a look at that, and again, the rotation really continues to weaken. It's right over here near the Ford's Corner area. Really, there's no one singular spot that we were looking at like we saw earlier, which tells me that a tornado is imminent at this point in time. But still hang out in your tornado safe place for the next few minutes here. If you are in Sexton, in Sabine County, Alexander Store, in southern Shelby County, the Drecka community as well, make sure that you are in your tornado safe place for the next couple of minutes here as this storm continues to lift up to the north and to the east. But right now, the strongest winds are near the Ford's Corner area, or really just to the east of town right now. We'll go ahead and zoom in to a couple of more spots out there to take a look at this. And yeah, there we go. It looks like the tornado warning, they decided to cancel that or expired early. Is that correct there, Carson?
That is correct, Andrew. So the tornado warning that did include St. Augustine, Sabine, and Shelby counties here in East Texas, that has been allowed to expire. So some good news there. We're still seeing a little bit of broad rotation, but nothing of immediate concern. But again, the tornado warning has been set to expire now, and this will continue to move off to the north and to the east, and this is really not going to be a problem for us as it moves into Louisiana. But again, showers and thunderstorms expected to continue throughout the afternoon. We might see a little bit of redevelopment to our west into parts of our central counties, so that's areas like Tyler and Longview. We're not 100% done with your severe weather threat, so we're not out of the woods just yet. We could see some redevelopment of those thunderstorms here within the next few hours as that cold front moves in our direction. But once again, no strong imminent concerns of any tornadoes across our area, so some good news there. People in PCR, we are okay to go back to our regular programming if that is possible, because we do not have any active warnings in this case. Of course, Andrew and I, we will be monitoring these storms throughout the course of the afternoon, and we will see you if another warning is issued across East Texas.
Thank the gods. Don't thank them too soon.
Kick pain in the Asper cream.
I wish that Shaq was my real-life big brother.
Turns out some wishes do come true. You'll never know. And it turns out that General is a quality insurance company that's been saving people money for nearly 60 years. For a great low rate and nearly 60 years of quality coverage, go with the General.
For people living with HIV, keep being you and ask your doctor about Biktarvy. Biktarvy is a complete, one-pill, once-a-day treatment used for HIV in certain adults. It's not a cure, but with one small pill, Biktarvy fights HIV to help you get to and stay undetectable. That's when the amount of virus is so low, it cannot be measured by a lab test. Research shows people who take HIV treatment every day and get to and stay undetectable can no longer transmit HIV through sex.
Serious side effects can occur, including kidney problems and kidney failure. Rare, life-threatening side effects include a buildup of lactic acid and liver problems. Do not take Biktarvy if you take dofetilide or rifampin. Tell your doctor about all the medicines and supplements you take if you are pregnant or breastfeeding, or if you have kidney or liver problems, including hepatitis. If you have hepatitis B, do not stop taking Biktarvy without talking to your doctor. Common side effects were diarrhea, nausea, and headache.
If you're living with HIV, keep loving who you are and ask your doctor if Biktarvy is right for you.
One team in East Texas with the power to see through the storm, the accuracy to keep your family safe, and the clarity to pinpoint neighborhoods in immediate danger. The East Texas Storm Team on Fox 51 News.
Get energized at Planet Fitness with tons of equipment. Join for $1 down, $10 a month, cancel anytime. Simply join through the PF app. Deal ends January 12th.
Now open in South Tyler on Broadway through January 12th. Join for $1 down.
Yosemite, Yosemite, Yosemite. It's the only roofing company that I trust for me. Yosemite, Yosemite, Yosemite. Built on character, honesty, integrity. Built on character, honesty, integrity.
Since when did we have a song? Maybe sing-alongs aren't our thing, but roofing is.
Did you know that thousands of authors across the country have written books and published them with Page Publishing? If you've written a book, Page can help you through the process. We cut through the confusion of the publishing world to make it easy for you. If we decide to publish your book, your work ends and ours begins. From copy editing and proofing to typesetting and book cover art, we get you printed, distributed, and sold on Amazon, Apple iTunes, and bookstores. We'll even promote your book.
Call 1-800-237-5406. That's 1-800-237-5406.
There are children in our community who need an adult advocate to be their voice, to guide them through the legal system, and eventually help them find a home. When you decide to become an advocate for CASA for Kids of East Texas, you're deciding to bring a little more color into a child's life who may have only known shades of gray. Many faces, one mission. Visit CASAforKidsofET.org today.
Do you love sports? Then you should know about STEM. Because maximizing nutrition, analyzing peak muscle performance, calculating the perfect shot, and more are all made possible by science, technology, engineering, and math. In fact, there are more careers than ever in sports science. So if you have a passion for sports, then think about getting involved in STEM and improve everyone's game on and off the field. Get inspired at SheCanSTEM.com.
Get energized at Planet Fitness with tons of equipment. Join for $1 down, $10.
Well, we apologize for interrupting your programming again with Dr. Phil and People's Court over on Fox 51, but here is a new tornado warning that has been issued. This does include two of our East Texas counties, one being southern Shelby County and the northern parts of Sabine County. So Toledo Bend, that's right here, and then as we push off to the west, Center is off your screen right now. Center is not included within this tornado warning, and Hemphill and Sabine County isn't included in the tornado warning either. So once again, the most dangerous part of this storm, and what we have seen here over the last couple of radar scans, has been the retightening of this couplet, which means the rotation within the storm itself has strengthened in a way that it does warrant another tornado warning. So let me go ahead and circle the area of concern, and that is going to be between East Hamilton and Sexton at this time. So it's right there. That is where we are seeing the potential of a tornado that can form at at any time. Alexander's store, you guys are in the Polygon, so I need you to seek shelter once again if you are listening to us from Alexander's store. And then off to the northeast of Sexton, if you live in East Hamilton, that's where the rotation is at the present time. So let me go ahead and pop up our shear rate, and this is effectively our rotation detector, or the directional change with the wind speeds as you go up within the atmosphere. And there's a pretty strong indication of that, but we'll be able to let this go within the next few minutes as this storm passes over the lake. So there's Toledo Bend, East Hamilton. You could probably buy bait there or something before you go fishing on the lake, but East Hamilton, we continue to see these showers and thunderstorms moving in that direction, and that is where the most dangerous part of the storm is, right near the East Hamilton area. We'll go ahead and read off some of these roads, and most of these are just forest roads. You can see Forest Road 121 there, and then it looks like Forest Road 106, and then Farm to Market Road 2251, and then some of these county roads right along the lake there. There's Bald Tree Road, there's East Hamilton. That is where the more dangerous part of the storm is. And also something I haven't mentioned a lot of, one, we got some very heavy rain in the area. We also have some cloud to ground lightning. All these big flashes of lightning are lightning that is reaching the ground at this point, so that can be pretty dangerous as well. So I want you to be inside. I want you to seek shelter. But here pretty soon, places like Sexton will be able to give you guys the all clear, and then once this moves to the east of Alexander's store, probably within the next 3 minutes or the next radar scan, we can give you guys the all clear as well. But just putting this in motion, this tightened up real quickly not too long ago, and this was a storm that was showing signs of rotation earlier. We actually hopped on the air a few minutes ago because we had a warned storm. This was the same storm that is just now producing the tornado warning in Sabine and Shelby County. But what it did is it cycled, meaning it had strong rotation and then it weakened and then it had strong rotation again, and that is going to be the general trend with a few of these storms as they progress off to the north and to the northeast. So again, Sexton, let me go ahead and look at the storm relative velocity real quick just to confirm this. But as we look at the storm relative velocity, here within the next 3 minutes I will be able to give the people in Sexton the all clear from this storm. But still, very tight couplet right near the East Hamilton. That's right on Toledo Bend, and that will continue to move across Toledo Bend into Louisiana, and then this will no longer be an East Texas problem, and then we can get you back to your regular programming. So that's where the most dangerous part of the storm is. We're waiting for a few more radar scans, and then this will be out of the area, and we will be able to send you back to regular programming. But as we look at some of these severe thunderstorm threats, it does look like, definitely some very strong winds within that couplet that could possibly be producing a tornado at this point. Over 58 miles an hour, so that would be a low-end EF0 or maybe a low-end EF1 strength storm, just depending on how strong it is right within that couplet. But again, it's over East Hamilton at this point. Now, as we look at the storm track, I'll go ahead and put these on here real quick, and as you can see, it's moving off to the north and to the northeast. So it's moving in this direction. That's the way the polygon is shaped there, and it will move into Louisiana. So eventually the rotation and the strongest part of this storm, it's no longer going to be a problem for East Texas, but folks, we're not out of the woods quite yet. We still have the potential for some strong storms, maybe even some strong severe storms as we move throughout the course of this afternoon and then as we head into the evening. But there are your storm threats. As we pop up the reflectivity product, what we're not saying a lot about this storm is just how heavy the rainfall is. And just zooming out, just look at the general direction of these storms. they're moving in the same direction they've been moving over the last 30 minutes to an hour. You know, you had one powerful storm move through central parts and eastern parts of Sabine County. You've got this one in the northern part of the county now, but you have all this other activity training behind these storms. So I do expect that this flash flooding threat will be on the increase because we are going to have a lot of rainfall in a very short amount of time. So please keep your weather wits about you. If you have to travel, first reconsider those plans, but you got to be very, very careful on those roadways, especially in this part of our area. Lots of trees and, you know, lots of places where we do have some low-lying areas that can be flooded pretty easily with all this rainfall that continues to come down. But zooming back into this storm, I want to get a read on where we are seeing the worst of the precipitation. And as you can see, the strongest part of the storm is now over the lake. Let me go ahead and pop up the velocity product one more time, and we'll go ahead and pause this. But there you go. It's still over East Hamilton. It is still hanging on to Toledo Bend. But, you know, as we look at this storm, it is forecasted to cross into Louisiana probably within the next 5 or so minutes. Just getting a beat on the directional change of this storm. It continues to move in the direction of Toledo Bend, and eventually it is going to cross over into Sabine Parish in western Louisiana. It's no longer going to be a problem for us here in East Texas. But again, worst part of the storm continues to be where this couplet is. And if you are watching us from Tyler and Longview, I get a lot of people are out of work since this is the federal holiday for New Year's Day. Just one thing to note with these severe thunderstorms, maybe you're not familiar with severe weather. What we like to look for in these severe storms, and this is something that you should take note of just in case you're under a warning later today, this is the storm relative velocity product that we're showing you, or the wind detector. That is where we see the direction of the winds. Now, green, those are winds moving towards the radar site in Shreveport, so they're going in this direction. Now, red are winds moving away from the radar site. So that's a pretty big difference in the direction in the winds there. And that is where we get the rotation. So the most dangerous and intense part of the storm is going to be right here just to the north of East Hamilton where I'm circling. That happens to be where the Toledo Bend Lake is, and that happens to be where the most intense part of the storm is. So it's right in this area, and as we look at some of the roads in this part of the county, we continue to monitor. It looks like Forest Road 147, 126D, 124, I believe that's a county road, Forest Road 137. There's the couplet, there's the lake, and this and there's the border between Texas and Louisiana. So folks, it's very close to crossing into Louisiana. Still a dangerous storm, but most people will not become affected by this here in the next few minutes, meaning we can give you guys the all clear. I can already give the all clear for, it looks like Goober Hill, Alexander's Store, the community of Sexton, which was within this tornado polygon. Geneva, you guys are in the all clear, so if you are living in that part of the county, you can come out of your storm shelter. Still stay inside because we got a lot of heavy rain, but you're no longer under the threat of a tornado. And then even if you do live in central parts of Sabine County, you guys are not under this tornado warning right now, and I don't expect you guys to be, so you guys have the all clear as well. So there we go. The National Weather Service just trimmed this tornado warning, and it no longer includes Sabine County, but it still includes eastern sections of Shelby County. But there's your couplet. That's where the greens are meeting the reds right here. So we'll continue to monitor for the potential of those storms moving into parts of Louisiana. We're going to give this a couple more minutes and see if the future radar scans have this in Louisiana, and then we will get you guys back to your regular programming as promised. But we are here throughout the day. What we are seeing right now is multiple rounds of showers and thunderstorms across our area, and any of these rounds could produce enough severe weather where we do have to come on the air, meaning tornado warnings. We're usually on the air for these, and We've got one storm, one tornado warning in the area. The remainder of the region is has highly gone unnoticed here. So that is some good news. We're not seeing the shower and thunderstorm activity we were earlier. However, we still have a couple hours of daylight left. With that, we could start to see that instability increase again, and if those storms do get going, we could very well see more warnings a little later on today. So I still want you to keep your weather wits about you through the evening, just in case a warning is issued for your area. But again, no imminent threat for our central and western counties as this initial round of thunderstorms pushes off to the north and to the northeast. But I will say, very heavy rain falling for sections of deep East Texas. That includes San Augustine County and the parts of Sabine and Shelby counties right here. So the good news is the tornado threat, it continues to diminish for our area. The not so good news is it will be increasing as these storms move into Louisiana. But that's the only warning we have in all of East Texas right now. Still some very heavy rain in that part of the area, and still that potential of the tornado over Toledo Bend at this point. It's probably occurring as a waterspout right now if it is on the ground or over water there, since it's crossing the lake. Let me go ahead and see where exactly the tornado is, and as we look at that storm relative velocity, there it is. It's literally right on the state line now, and it continues to slide off to the north and to the northeast. So very shortly we will be able to give all of Shelby County the all clear. And again, the tornado warning, it does not include all of Shelby County. It's the extreme eastern half of Shelby County. You can see places like there's Center right there on your screen. New Harmony, East Liberty, Hursttown, Alexander's Store, you guys are no longer within this tornado warning. Hawthorne and places like that are not within the warning either. But there's your rotation couplet. That is moving into Louisiana as we speak, and will continue to cross the lake here over the next few minutes. Now, another thing about these storms today especially is we have a ton of moisture to work with, and what that means, and my concern with that, is you're just not going to see these storms coming. You're not going to see, if there is a tornado over the lake right now, you're not going to see it because it's rain wrapped. Folks, this is very heavy rain falling, and unfortunately you're not going to see anything, and I wouldn't want you outside trying to spot it either, but you're not going to see a rain wrapped tornado in this case, since the storm itself continues to produce some very, very heavy rainfall. But again, that's moving into Louisiana as we speak. We'll put the velocity back on, and yes, folks, so most of this is moving into Louisiana now. So here in the next couple of minutes, we will be able to release this storm into the Louisiana state line there. But again, there you go. Showers and thunderstorms continue to progress from west to east, and we continue to monitor these additional storms off to our south and to our west. And there you go, folks. Deep East Texas seeing a lot of rainfall. Not a ton for places like Lufkin or Nacogdoches at this point, but there are your showers and thunderstorms over San Augustine, Ford's Corner. Ford's Corner was previously under a warning. San Augustine was not. Townsend, Goodwin, Denning, places like that. Chirino seeing a little shower right now. And these storms are originating from Tyler and Jasper County off to our south and to our southwest over Sam Rayburn, and we continue to see these showers and thunderstorms train as they move off to the north and to the northeast. So just an update for you. It looks like Shelby County eventually will be able to be trimmed from this warning here, and then we will be able to give Shelby County the all clear, and then this is a Louisiana storm at this point. But not picking up a lot of rotation, and it's really hard to say. It's really hard to see anything that might indicate some radar indicated rotation. I'll go ahead and use a different product to see if it says otherwise, but as we look at that shear rate, yeah, it's all over the lake by now. So Alexander's Store, we can give you guys the all clear. Huxley, I would stay in your storm shelter for the next few minutes, just in case you see this storm rotate a little further off to the north, but that's highly unlikely at this point. But the most dangerous part of the storm is now over the lake, and it is moving into Louisiana as we speak. So there's the green, broad rotation over Toledo Bend, moving into Sabine Parish. But once again, still a dangerous day of weather. We've got lots of showers and thunderstorms in the area, and that will continue to be the case here over the next several hours, especially for deep East Texas, where a lot of that heavy rain is continuing to fall. But just a radar reset, and then we will get you guys back to your regular programming. Let me pop up the Shreveport radar site. Largely inactive now after those earlier showers and thunderstorms across our central and western counties. I mean, we're even seeing a few peaks of sunshine near the Trinity River for places like Houston, Anderson, Henderson, Van Zant, Rains, and Hopkins County. But this is an area that will need to be monitored for additional storms to develop. Haven't seen that yet, but that is expected to change here over the next few hours. So we'll keep an eye on that, but we are continuing to monitor these showers and thunderstorms moving off to the north and to the northeast. All this activity you see along the Texas-Louisiana line. There's Cattle Lake, there's Marion County, there's Cass County, there's Harrison County. All this is moving into Louisiana, and these are not severe at all, but we do have some heavy rain still moving through those areas, so that'll be something to monitor for the threat of flash flooding. But all this is moving into Arkansas and parts of Louisiana. So once again, Sabine County dropped from the warning now. Shelby County still within the warning, but the most dangerous part of the storm continues to move out of Shelby County. Let me go ahead and get one more look at this, and then we will send you back to regular programming. So again, moving over the lake, and that continues to move into parts of Louisiana. So, my friends in the control room, we can go back to regular programming when we are able to, because the immediate threat of a tornado is now out of Shelby County. But again, folks, these storms, we will be monitoring them throughout the course of the afternoon. The heating is in place. We've got the wind shear in place as well. And most of this is not going to be out of our area until we head into tonight, once that front moves through and stabilizes the atmosphere. But we're dealing with a lot of instability. It's very warm, it's very moist and unstable out there. So unfortunately, that will remain the case here over the next several hours. But there's your storm. It is moving into Louisiana as we speak. I'm still waiting for word if we can send this back to regular programming, but we are seeing a lot of lightning over Toledo Bend, and that will continue to move off to the north and to the northeast. So showers and thunderstorms continue to move from southwest to northeast. Lots of rain in deep East Texas, and we will continue to watch these storms as they develop for the remainder of the afternoon and this evening, and we will keep you updated. We'll have more information on KETK News at 4 here in about 30 minutes, but I will send you guys back to regular programming on KETK and Fox 51.
If you're age 50 to 85, call now about the #1 most